Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Gonzo Film Reviews. Thank you for the wild support we've gotten over the last few episodes. It's amazing. Thanks again to all the people that Socrates here has gotten to interview. It's absolutely amazing that they were able to come on here and share their experiences, answer our questions. Hopefully we can do so many more.
Yeah. You've all been amazing, and thanks so much for. I would list out every country that's I've seen join. I mean, we've had Sweden, Israel, Croatia, Brazil, the UK, Canada, all these countries that hadn't been listening to us before. They popped up. So
Absolutely,
it's cool to see you guys all here. Special shout out to all you new viewers, all the new listeners, because and the exotic locations.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you know what? Every audience member counts, and especially for us who, we're just getting started and we're still small, so we appreciate every single one of you guys who listen to what we do, and our ramblings of nothing really but opinions.
And Sweden loves us. We're number 2 in film podcast in Sweden, great. So special second shout out to them.
It is a very proud thing to know that. And one of these days I'll be available for one of the interviews, I promise.
It'll be fun. Three-way interview.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Schedules just haven't lined up for me for any of the other ones so far. But with that, we'll carry on, and we have some pretty good ones. The game I'll be reviewing this time isn't necessarily a new one, but I wanted to talk about it because it's one of my favorites. And there's a new release coming, hopefully, very soon. And it's the Witcher series, which The Witcher 3 specifically I wanted to talk about. Just such an amazing game, and the fact that it's gotten me so excited about it, and I might even start replaying through it again soon.
Yeah, so you can recap the other ones for that are, it's kind of like a retrospective, and then also give information on the fourth one.
Yeah, absolutely. Exactly. So the fourth one, and that's going to be made in Unreal Engine 5.
Oh,
and my gosh, that's going to be so just amazing, like just beautiful. And hopefully we can I mean, I'm gonna get it immediately.
Yeah.
And you guys are gonna hear about it first. Well, second, I guess, because Socrates, but there will definitely be a episode about it the moment it is possible.
Oh yeah.
That Hogwarts Legacy. I
pre-ordered Gotham Knights and Hogwarts Legacy, so they'll definitely be hearing everything we think about those in the next few months.
Big releases.
I still have to review the Skywalker Saga. I only gave short thoughts about it a couple episodes ago. I might do a full review on it.
Absolutely.
And the Lego Dimensions one is still under construction. I haven't finished playing through it yet again, so I'm going to wait till I finish the main story before I give big thoughts on that, because I still want a sequel to that, even if they don't use the toys to life.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, speaking of what you wanted to talk about, what I know you decided on what film you wanted to discuss today.
Yeah, this time I'm going to do Jurassic World. It's the newest one. It's the one that just came out. Yeah, so it's the third of the new trilogy, and they're marketing it as the last one. So whatever they do from now on, I mean, they're still making money. So it really depends on what they want to do. They can choose to go the route of switching to the Cretaceous period, or they could go they could just say change the name or keep the name, or I don't know, because they said it's the final. Maybe they're just done.
I don't know.
Ran out of ideas. I have no idea. But
I mean, you got to think they've been doing this for how long?
Since was it the 80s or 90s?
way back, yeah. I want to say 80s, like late 80s.
Oh wait, that was Indiana Jones for Spielberg, so it must
no,
be
yeah.
early 90s, right?
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, somewhere around
That's my
there.
thought process. I'm not an expert.
They definitely
but,
started it
yeah.
by the late 80s, but
Yeah.
even if they didn't release it then. But yeah, it was. I watched it twice, so I have a pretty good feel for it. And I'm gonna break it down in terms of the previous movies, and then in terms of how it stands on its own.
Yeah.
It's pretty good when you look at it with the previous movies, because the second Jurassic World movie was pretty boring, pretty lame. This one was at least better than the last one from 2018. So I would say it's pretty good there, but it doesn't stack up well with the first couple Jurassic Park movies. It does pretty well against the last of the Jurassic Park movies, like 5. And it was a big disappointment, though, if you're looking for something as good as the first Jurassic World movie.
Oh, yeah.
The first Jurassic World was crazy. It made
really
a crap ton of money. It had a huge tie-in with Dairy Queen and a bunch of things. And I saw that commercial probably 3,000 times, the Dairy Queen, with the dinosaurs eating everyone. But
Yeah.
it was exciting. It was funny. It was fun. It was fresh. And it was interesting. But this one doesn't quite live up to that, even though they try to shoehorn people from the classic Jurassic Park movies into it.
Right.
The only real winner there is Jeff Goldblum. He's the only one who actually nails the comedy. He's the only one who has a consistent character, I think.
You know, in just my thought process whenever it comes to like legacy characters like him,
Yeah.
every single time he appears, I feel like he's going to die.
Oh yeah, it's
every
like,
single
an
time he
excuse
appears.
to kill them off,
Yeah.
like the Han Solo.
Legacy characters, they always die.
Especially if they're Disney.
Like the new Scream movie, they use that as an opportunity to kill a legacy character. Han Solo in Star Wars.
I'm surprised anybody died in the new Scream movie, because I saw people getting burned alive, stabbed 70 times, like shot, but they were just like, "Oh, I'm good, I'm just bleeding," and they would get up and keep going.
Yeah. Poor Dewey.
I can't believe it. I can't believe it.
He had so many scrapes with death before. Just didn't,
His luck finally ran out.
more like his brain stopped working. He just decided, oh yeah, shoot it in the head, remember. But you don't need to stand, a foot away from it to shoot it in the head.
It's a slightly ranged weapon,
Yeah,
sir.
it is a projectile that is exiting the gun.
Imagine the Romans, they brought their catapults right up to enemy lines.
Right.
Fired them, it goes way over their heads. Like, oh, your weapons are harmless. Misjudged a little bit there, miscalculated.
Yeah.
Wheel them back.
Why would you put your catapults within stabbing distance?
Because-
Is the thing. Like,
Exactly, that's what it's like.
oh man, I don't know. He put on a lot of bravado for somebody who was rapidly approaching melee distance.
That's why I'm worried about Indiana Jones next year as well. It's the 5th one, it's the final one. John Williams, the composer, and Harrison Ford both said that it's probably their last movie ever at all.
Wow.
So I'm really worried that if he dies and they give it to, what's her name, Phoebe Waller-Bridge, the lady who rewrote some of the script, and Kathleen Kennedy is in charge of this production as well.
Oh boy.
Because it's a freaking, Disney Lucasfilm production, even though Lucas is gone. They should just rename it Kennedy Film, because it's most of them have had her imprint. Even the Obi-Wan series, which we're going to review next on next week's episode. I've watched it. I don't think you've watched it yet.
No, I'm going to binge it.
Yeah.
Once it is all out.
It is all out now.
It is now.
It just finished.
Okay, so
we'll give you a week to
at my nearest
work on it.
convenience, I'm going to binge it entirely. That way I get all the pieces collected right in front of me all at once.
You'll see the full
And
picture.
I will see the full picture in
It
my
had
first
great
watch.
moments, but it definitely had her imprint. I'm worried that Indiana Jones is going to have her imprint, but, anyway, sorry, back to dinosaurs.
No, yeah, we got a little bit sidetracked, but that's what we do best here.
Pretty much.
Yeah. I mean, I do worry about legacy characters, for real, though. I mean,
we had 3, 4. We had one in Spirit. What's her name? The scientist.
Yeah.
Catherine something. She had a cloned copy
she was
daughter that she gave birth to herself.
the mother of who I'd call the main character in this movie.
So her copy clone daughter, without a father, literally without a biological father.
She made the baby by herself.
A copy of herself, free of the disease that she had.
Yeah.
So she kind of fixed herself in a second life, in a way.
She gave her child the life she couldn't have
without full reanimation
going
on. But yeah, so there was her, but she's dead, so she's not technically in it, but she's heavily featured.
Heavily.
They
kept her in it.
Yeah, there's Jeff Goldblum's character, and then there's the couple that's not a couple. So there's Dr. What's-her-face, Dr. What's-his-face.
Yeah.
The names in this are so forgettable. I'm sorry, I'm not a huge Jurassic person, so any of you Jurassic fans out there, slamming your table or pitching your phone or ripping out your earbuds, I'm really, really sorry. I don't know the names of all the doctors in the Jurassic movies. But we are doing some grade A research to find out some of those names right now.
Grade A Google.
Yep. But top of the line stuff. But the legacy characters coming back, it was a mixed bag. So, some of them were great, like Jeff Goldblum. The rest were pretty terrible. Okay. So Sam Neill played Alan Grant. Laura Dern played Ellie Sattler. Okay. Those were the two.
We all know Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, those were the two that really just annoyed me because you could feel the Viagra coming through the film screen when they were on, because it was just heavy Viagra energy, because it was the really cliche tropes of like, oh, really old friends, and we don't mean old friends like they've known each other. I mean like old friends, like they need a walker to get through the rest of this film.
Did you get the same vibe from Campbell Scott's character? He had real Bill Gates vibes.
Oh yeah, they copy and paste from Steve Jobs and Bill Gates mashed together. It was so pathetically typical. Like he had all the physical traits
very much
and mannerisms of Steve Jobs, and later older Steve Jobs, but he had the weirdness and the freaking psychotic nature of Bill Gates, where he could literally just say something offhand without realizing it doesn't sound humane. He's like, well, I think all people should start eating synthetic plastic meat because it would be better for us. Like, what? But anyway, it's the characterization, the characters weren't well written. They weren't very well executed.
But I mean, all around, I enjoyed my experience. Like, I had my gripes.
It didn't drag the whole thing down to the pit of despair, but
there were some characters I really liked. There were some characters I really liked.
The guy that helped them, the inside worker,
Ramsey.
Yeah, he was great.
Ramsey was a great character. I enjoyed the return of Barry.
Yeah, and the Jurassic World characters were okay, so I didn't mind.
Absolutely.
Owen and Claire, they were both good.
Yeah, and you know what? I do have there's a list of my favorite actors and actresses, and I will say that Bryce Dallas Howard is one of my all-time favorite actors.
She's so good.
She is very talented. Every role she plays.
And she doesn't age. She's one of those people that just doesn't age.
Not at all. And I mean, I hope to see some of these faces in future projects as well. The one who played Kayla Watts was also really, really good. I enjoyed her
performance was amazing. And it's such a shame because her character was written terribly. She had no reason to be motivated enough to do anything she did in it.
Yeah.
And she lost so much for no reason. And she had weird scenes that made no sense with some of the characters. But her performance was spectacular.
Oh, absolutely.
She really sold being terrified of the Elton John feather dinosaur on the ice. She sold that so well. I want to see her in other things.
And I mean, it's
as well.
Plus the acting companionship between Chris Pratt and her is really good. I mean, they kind of bounced off of each other almost perfectly, and it kind of gave me a better hope for the turnout of the movie in a whole. Simply because we had our gripes about this and that, but I still overall enjoyed my experience in how in the story, even though it was a little predictable as for how things were going to go.
Yeah, the T-Rex, he usually teams up with some other animal to take down whatever big bad is bigger than him.
I thought they killed it for a minute. I thought the icon T-Rex was dead and there was a new predator, like apex predator.
And he just opens his eye and you just see that little fire in there. He's like, I'm not done, bitch.
He had that revenge look in his eyes where he was like,
Did you ever watch Doolittle?
You had me. I did.
The squirrel,
the
most memeable character of all. Okay, if you guys all have to watch Robert Downey Jr.'s Doolittle right now, because there is a squirrel in that film that is the funniest character you will ever see.
He is really funny.
Oh, like the kid's coming to jump on the ship with them, and he's like, he's coming to finish the job. He shot me once, he'll do it again. So then they're having him jump onto the ship from a bridge. So he's like, jump, murderer, jump.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the greatest squirrel ever. I love him so much.
I enjoyed the Doolittle movie.
We will review it someday.
I can't say I loved it.
No.
I love Robert Downey Jr. He's in that top list of actors.
Yeah.
That, I feel like cinema wouldn't be the same without. For so many reasons, which I won't get into right now because we, sidebar for so long. But Doolittle just didn't really stick with me the same, like how it should have.
It was very childish and contrived.
The Doolittle that we grew up with, like what Eddie Murphy.
We had some tall
Dr. Doolittle.
There was a classic one from the '60s.
Yeah,
we had some tall orders, but they didn't quite.
They tried to make
level.
It a little bit more of like a adventure type movie, which
like a juvenile kind of adventure though. Like it was definitely geared towards the younger kids. Yeah, so it missed me. But the squirrel though,
the squirrel was the saving grace for.
He was
for
definitely written by a clever comedian.
Yeah, for the adults for sure.
But yeah, it's Jurassic though. I mean, it wasn't a horrible movie overall, but I definitely had some pitfalls to really thoroughly enjoying it. But and I will say the beasts though, the actual dinosaurs, the return to the animatronics too, and the mix with CGI instead of making them full CGI was a huge saver, I think, because it made them look more realistic and a little bit more threatening. And
they were gorgeous.
They were.
I mean, there wasn't a moment where I thought like, all right, that just looks fake. You know what I mean?
When they were fighting the Giganotosaurus too, like Goldblum had two moments where he was like one-on-one with that.
Yeah, fucker. That's why I kept thinking like they're gonna kill him. Yeah, right at the end.
He had He was the first one in line when they were all running away the first time. I saw him duck under that truck, and he didn't even give a fuck. Like he sat under there. He's like, they might get eaten, but I'm down here. I'm safe.
Exactly.
And then when they are about to get eaten, he gets the flaming spork. Yeah. I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna die. But then he threw it into its throat, had it breathing fire like a dragon, and ran off. I was like, okay, that's badass. That was good.
And I will say, I mean, the movie did a great job at two things. Two things, in my opinion, it did just wonderful in. I had a ton of moments where I laughed.
Yeah.
And I had a ton of moments where I was on the edge of my seat because I thought something bad, was about to happen.
Die,
Fist clench, you know what I mean? Like
there was the last one. Yeah, so they could do anything to anyone.
So much tension because you did not know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
Because everything was such high stakes. And, throughout the movie, granted, I mean, depending on your sense of humor, it could be pretty funny too. I know I laughed at several occasions. But like that one scene where the guy was just riding his scooter between two dinosaurs. And they just ate him right off of it. Like, what was his plan?
It'd drive right up to an Allosaurus. Like, hey, what's up, buddy?
What was he thinking? What was gonna happen in his head? He was just like, oh yeah, they're distracted. Let me just go right in between the two of these things.
He's like, I haven't watched the last 30 years of news stories of dinosaurs getting out and eating people, so I'm going to experience it for myself. And you got it, buddy.
He got it. Yeah,
you
experienced got the full experience.
He definitely got the VIP pass.
Oh, yeah.
But there were some cool bits like that. The tension was good. So the director did a good job in some places. Colin Trevorrow, he's kind of a legend now.
Yeah.
The cinematography, I had some great moments, and then I had some moments where I was rolling my eyes because they did go to Egypt in one scene, right?
Yes.
So there's the pretty stupid, typical yellow filter. Instead of just filming with the natural colors and light of the area, they just probably go to a studio and then they slap the yellow filter on it. If they're going to Mexico, the Middle East, or any desert. So I'm just like, come on, guys, really? Like, you can do better. They've been calling it out more recently. So with Wonder Woman 84, for example, just their depiction of Egypt was so laughable. It was so far off. It was so Hollywood typical. It's like a 1950s version, but, it's not a huge issue. They weren't there for a long time. But I would just hope that, if you're going to make something in such a storied franchise that, come on, bring your A game, bring the best. And if they're not going to do it, fire him and get another guy.
Right.
Get a cinematographer who will do the job. But
I mean, do it right.
It wasn't a huge deal, though. It was just little gripes like that, and some script issues, and some characters that were unnecessarily brought back, and also the main antagonist being, a food shortage because Steve Jobs, spoiler, created
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs wannabe created some stinking
giant locusts, locust swarm.
I will say the scene where the locusts are revealed,
that was wild.
To those kids was incredible.
Did the kids even survive? They never showed.
They seemed to have, but they could have not. Like, they could have busted into that barn, but the way they shot it seems to imply that they survived. They held out in there, but
just never saw them again.
I would hope that they
like,
didn't.
just never saw them again. Yeah, and also, I love the self-awareness toward the end where they meet up with the one scientist again, who's been kind of a presence throughout each of the movies. What was let me see if I can't.
Was it just from the Jurassic World ones, or from all of them? Period.
Could have been.
Oh wait, I know who you're talking about. He's the guy who
created the.
He
locust.
Always does the.
Yeah. That guy.
I don't even see him in there.
Yeah, he's not even in here.
That's weird because he was more than a cameo.
Right, he was there, but like his character, I love how. Was it Jeff Goldblum? Who was like, no, this guy is not
him.
Yeah, exactly, not him. Yeah, but like he got his own little redemption arc,
Yeah, he got to experiment on the daughter of the what's her name? Is it in there?
Yeah.
Is she listed?
Maisie Lockwood.
Yeah. So what was it? Her mother's name?
Charlotte.
Charlotte. I keep saying Catherine. It was Charlotte Lockwood. Yeah. So Charlotte Lockwood's daughter, clone daughter kid thing.
Yeah.
She was pretty good, but
absolutely.
Yeah, the scientist who was working on studying her to find out how he could get rid of the locust that he created, and also, he was pretty good.
Yeah,
but I am getting tired of him always being either bought off or manipulated into doing something really stupid and then saying, I can fix it. Like, you wouldn't have to always fix shit if you weren't always messing shit up. Like,
if you didn't fall for it every
Timmy,
time.
quit kicking the blocks and you won't have to clean them up. Like, damn. But yeah,
I'm not gonna lie though, it was a little frustrating at times when Isabella Sermon's character, Maisie, the daughter, they really tried to accentuate her rebellious teen phase throughout the movie.
Yeah, it was
they really tried to accentuate that.
Yeah, it was a little obvious in the beginning.
It was very obvious that they were trying really hard to make her character do dumb stuff.
Yeah. And that's
seemingly
honestly how
on
most
purpose.
of the plot started.
Yeah.
That's how Blue the Raptors...
It was how everything started.
Yeah.
Everything started because she was being like a spoiled teen.
Yeah, and she knew the weight of the issues on her head.
Yeah.
And when they talked to the CIA agent, which was also kind of silly, because he didn't have the clearance, but then he told them everything anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, if you didn't have the clearance to know that, how are you doing this? So how do you know all that? And also, how do you get away with just talking to a CIA agent at lunch and having him give away all of the top secrets of these dinosaur, in the human world issues.
I couldn't
How
tell
would
you.
the CIA let such a leak occur? But I mean, it's just things that needed to happen for
Like,
the plot to go forward.
You would
So
imagine that agents would keep eyes on agents, right?
you would think the IA would have an
Yeah.
issue with that, but
Yeah.
even if they didn't have IA, why on earth was that the way that the plot started? The first half of the writing was pretty choppy, but it picked up and it got better once they
Yeah, it
actually
did.
got to the
Yeah,
park.
once the plot started,
Yeah.
it was not bad.
Yeah, it was pretty good once they were actually brought to the facility.
It was just like the events leading up to, like the rising action. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
the events leading up to, because again, like you said,
the setup was bad. It was a
yeah.
terrible setup.
Yeah, because again, like Kayla's character, she didn't have an apparent motivation to help them at all.
Yeah,
Like, she even wrecked her whole plane. Which, assuming she made a living, flying things here and there.
smuggling.
Yeah, smuggling and everything like that. Why would she be okay with the risk of crashing her plane?
Also, she just decided at the end that she was owed a new plane, but the company literally folded, and he got eaten. The CEO got eaten.
Yeah.
All the money was gone. It got dumped into the disaster.
Yeah.
I guarantee that because the facility became a safe haven for all the dinosaurs in the world
Yeah.
at the end of the movie. So all the money that the company previously had to throw around was going into the maintenance. Wow, of that place,
Okay.
but also funding to fix the disaster, the fire, and the destruction that occurred to the facility at the end of the movie.
Right.
Who paid for her plane? Who gave her a new one when it was her fault? She trespassed onto a perfectly legal property, like facility. Like she had no reason to trespass. She had no legal defense for it. Technically, I know you have a moral one because obviously it's a movie and you know what all the characters are doing. But
Right.
from a perfectly legal standpoint in world, she had no good reason to crash a plane onto this facility, endangering so many animals in the process. Yeah, that's ridiculous. So, but she just ended up with a new plane, spray painted a 2 on it. And I'm like, you said you were owed it, then you just magically get one. So if you didn't pay for it, who the hell did?
Right.
Because they certainly didn't compensate you for trespassing and crashing and endangering, previously extinct animals. Like, good lord. But overall, though, I would give it. Well, we don't usually do stars, like 10-star rating, so
yeah, we usually do thumbs.
we do thumbs. I would give it a thumb up. It was pretty good. It wasn't the full, experience I was hoping for, and it didn't quite measure up spectacularly well to the better movies in the franchise.
Right.
But it still held up better than several of the movies in the franchise, and it was pretty good on its own.
Yeah.
So
I
even if
agree.
you haven't seen, the other ones, you could still have a pretty good idea of what's going on in this one, even though there's ties to old movies. You don't need it.
I definitely agree.
So I would say it's pretty solid. I would recommend it. So if anyone just wants a good time in the movies and they already saw Maverick or they don't want to see Lightyear, just go watch the dinosaurs eat people. It's actually pretty fun.
It is. I mean, it
pretty good.
is a good time. It's entertaining. I concur with the one thumb up. It doesn't deserve a thumb down. It doesn't. It was
fine.
still an enjoyable experience. I never once thought to myself like, kind of regret coming.
Yeah, it was good. The only thing I regretted was that McDonald's didn't give me my damn
they
burgers.
cheated you on your stuff.
So I didn't even realize it until I was already in my seat.
Yeah.
I always check the bag,
We should have gone
folks.
back.
Yeah, this is your
gotten
advice
your
for the
stuff.
day. We haven't done the advice column in a
Yeah,
while.
the advice.
This is the
column.
advice. If you ever
Always
get
check.
McDonald's, open the damn bags before you pull out of the drive-thru, and you tell them to put it in there if it's not
Yeah.
there. Because I really should have done that, and by the time I was all settled, I didn't want to go all the way back, and I didn't even know where I kept the receipt at the time. So it's just like, this is ridiculous. Get your stuff straight, guys.
You know what? You should definitely do that at every fast food drive-thru.
Yeah.
Make sure your order is there, because it happens so often where they get it wrong, they leave things out. they, I mean, I've even had it to where they forgot that I even ordered anything, didn't even charge me for it, so I had to go back around and pay for it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, which that's like the lesser of all evils here. But yeah, that's a solid advice. Just make sure you check your food when you go out to eat, because it could be wrong or it could just not exist.
Yeah. And with that, I would say, Dino good.
Dino good.
Lightyear bad.
Yeah, Lightyear bad.
So,
Dino good.
Branching off then, what was the verdict on the games that you have? So, do you want to give like a little preview of what players can expect with the fourth one first, or do you want to start with what your general thoughts are on the trilogy that came before?
Well, there's not a whole lot of detail out that I've seen myself on the fourth Witcher game. I'm the type of person that will read the very thin layer of news that sits on the top.
Yeah.
Because I like to be, diving into the game head first with
full surprises.
Full surprise, and all the emotion will be raw at that point. Everything I feel will be unexpected and true and honest.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of the way I like to do that. But as for my thoughts on the third game, I absolutely loved it. Every second of it I loved.
It seemed to be the most popular one.
Oh, yeah. And I even got all the expansions. I mean, such a fun game. And you never really get bored unless you've done everything. I mean, even if you have done everything, you can even go up to, 90% of the NPCs in the game and ask them to play Gwent, which, Gwent, I still can't wrap my head around. I get how it's played, but it's so difficult.
Yeah.
I'm not good at Gwent at all because I just can't really understand the best strategy to use. And getting other cards, I think it's been a while. I do have to play through it again, but I think getting other cards, you have to beat other people to get other cards. But you have to know how to beat other people to do that.
It's really tough.
But I mean, it's fun anyway. As a waste of time. Just make sure you don't wager coins on Gwent, because that's a winning loss right there.
This is probably a horrible comparison. When I played Assassin's Creed Black Flag, I still play it all the time. I will wager the full amount for any game. Checkers, any chess, the weird backgammon game. I'll wager the full amount because I know I'm gonna beat their ass.
Yeah. Well,
but,
hey, pirates, right?
Yeah,
pirates.
But yours though.
Yeah.
Different kind of
Witcher,
game.
A little different. But I mean, my thoughts and feelings on the game itself. I've always loved Geralt's character. I love his character growth through each game. I love the choices you can make throughout the entirety of the game that will shape Geralt's character and, kind of the story that you forge throughout the time. Your decisions to travel the map in certain places at certain times, finding different items, finding different upgrades, things like that really influence the game itself. It really is a game changer for the player experience, because it makes you feel like you're not just going through a storybook someone else wrote.
Yeah.
It makes you really feel like you have a hand.
So it's like full RPG, kind of more freedom.
It's nice. I mean, I firmly believe that the player has the power in the game to, end up in a place and position that they can be happy with by the end of it.
Yeah.
I believe that, because you can put your time and effort into a bunch of different directions. Love interests are a big thing in the game. Geralt always finds himself in romantic situations.
I see a lot of hilarious videos of how people will
Yes.
do silly things at the different kinds of brothels and stuff.
Yeah.
They'll have the silliest kinds of interactions.
Oh yeah.
And it's funny that they build in so many different ways for you to interact with, like, even the silliest kind of like situations.
NPCs and whatnot.
Yeah, I'm like,
absolutely.
usually these options aren't even available. You can do like two things. You can barter, you can fight, you can fuck off. But like, it's really funny to actually see him just stroll in, weapons ablaze and everything, and just like demand a maiden.
Yeah.
But then it's not even that simple. There's a whole complicated subplot, or she gives it her backstory or whatever. It's just funny alternatives.
Absolutely.
They put a lot of thought into the brothels.
There's so
of
much
this
detail.
game.
So much detail in the game in general. I mean, I love the way the story was told in this game, and the fact that, Geralt is concerned enough about Ciri through the whole thing to go as far as he did to find her and to catch up with her. I mean, at one point you're going through like other worlds, and it's really crazy. I mean, the stuff that Geralt goes through to find Ciri and know that she's okay and, protect her for what he can.
Oh yeah.
It's very heartwarming, and it shows so much development for Geralt's character. Ciri's character has grown so much. Her parts of the story are just as amazing as Geralt's. You get a little bit of insight on her adventures alone while she's been traveling and running from the Wild Hunt in the main game, and it's just such a fun experience that puts you in a lot of different perspectives. I mean, there was one mission / instance that really put into perspective for me the cause and effect of things in the world of The Witcher, where, there was one character, and I believe his name was Skjall. Yeah, Skjall.
So what did he do?
So he was your typical case of he fell in love with Ciri at first sight. The feelings were not returned. Their village eventually got raided that Ciri was staying in. That village was taking her in and taking care of her for the time. And they were all very nice and welcoming people. And Skjall tried to help Ciri get away and ended up... I don't want to, go through it all, but he ended up dying fairly horribly. And then whenever Geralt found Skjall's body, tracking, through events trying to find Ciri, he had Yennefer do, like a dark magic to reanimate temporarily Skjall and ask questions as to like how to find Ciri, everything like that. And it really accentuates the kind of just misery and pain Skjall is in, realizing that, like, he died, trying to chase after this girl. His village is ruined, and the pain of his death still lingers.
Yeah, because he's
while
not fully
back.
gone because they pulled him back in. Yeah.
So he's just absolutely suffering the whole time, and it makes you like really think about, like, wow, how far are you as a person willing to go to track down what means the most to you, and I'd say that's quite far.
Yeah, for most characters, for most people,
absolutely,
it can be pretty far.
I mean, granted, Geralt does have a lot of development, but he is, Witchers kind of have a duller sense of emotion than most people.
More of a static kind of character.
And me personally, as far as the love interests are, mentioned, 100% Team Triss. 100% Team Triss. Most definitely. I've always liked her character. And That's okay. People can fight me on that. That's acceptable.
I'm sure between Witcher fans there might be a lot of debate.
But I mean, personally, I wouldn't be really upset at the notion of like a Yennefer ending or anything like that, because I do enjoy her character as well.
Yeah.
Simply, I don't know. With the way I've played the game, the Geralt that I, play as, the way I play him, Triss just kind of fits really well.
And how are the monsters in it?
Absolutely amazing. I love the combat. I love the ways you can use your Witcher magic in combat, and how you have to utilize different potions and your spells in a certain way against certain enemies. The fight can be so much easier, so much harder.
All right, so after that, what are your final thoughts on the Witcher? And then I did have a couple of questions for you.
Yeah.
Leading into those, and then your thumbs up, thumbs down verdict on the first 3 games.
Well, perfectly put. I would say the Witcher series is something that is held to a very high standard, in my opinion. I myself have not played many games that have held true and consistent to the level that those games have in delivering a consistently fun and enjoyable experience, and in something that I can kind of make my own.
Yeah.
I love Witcher 3's story, combat, decision making, just everything that they put into the game, how much detail there is. I mean, the customization's fun too. You can customize, like, change his hair, facial hair. You can, change your clothes for armor, all kinds of different weapons. Side quests, there's just so many. It's impossible to do them all, and it is just such a good game. And
so it probably sounds like a 2 thumbs up because of the depth and the story and everything.
I give those 2 thumbs up for sure, and if I had any more, I would give them those 2.
Yeah, we've definitely had those moments too.
Yeah, if I
wish
had
I had
any
more
I would give them
thumbs.
those. I know, I wish, dude.
And then, have you watched the Netflix series at all?
For The Witcher?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
Well, how would you compare it to the game, or do you think it's more of like standing on its own kind of adaptation?
I think it's more of like a standing on its own type adaptation so far, at least.
So it's more kind of like Hobbit and less like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd say. But it's still a great experience. I mean, I think Superman acts as Geralt really well, and
yeah, he gets to play a super straight character and then a super gray character.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's pretty interesting.
And it's very interesting to watch, but he does a fantastic job. And bless that man's lungs, because doing Geralt's voice is probably absolutely horrible on the throat.
I bet.
But also, I love that they kept the characters relatively consistent. Yennefer's actress does an amazing job. I love it. Ciri's actress, granted, they went the really young Ciri route, and that's a little different from some things, but I don't hate it. And it honestly, I do like the story that they've come up with for the Netflix series. I've enjoyed myself thus far.
Good. Okay. That was the biggest thing I was worried about. There are a lot of cases, most cases actually, where a video game adaptation is shit. It's horrible. Or a book adaptation just ruins everything in it. So it's good that they finally got a video game adaptation to kind of work,
Yeah, it definitely works.
Good.
I mean, I like seeing the different kinds of monsters and curses and stuff like that you don't really see in the game.
Yeah.
I can't recall a memory of ever fighting a Striga in in the games, which he did face one in the show. Literally, the intro to the show is him fighting a monster in like a swamp.
That's almost like Dark Souls stuff.
Exactly, yeah. Like the intro to the show, you first see him like blasting out of water, like out of a lake in the middle of it, like fighting this beast that's like enormous.
I gotta watch it now. That sounds fun.
Yeah, the whole time there's like a deer watching the fight happen, and the deer's like injured on its back leg. So it's just like laying there watching the fight happen, and at the end, he's just kind of like, "Today's not your day."
Nope. And then when we do the Bioshock retrospective and the big review on the third one, especially the first and third ones are really the ones that we're looking forward to review the most.
Yeah.
I'm also looking forward to finding out if the Netflix adaptation of Bioshock is going to be okay.
Oh, I hope so.
They have so many things to do right, but they also have a big budget available, so hopefully they nail it. But I think the biggest flaw, if they fail, if they fuck up at all, the biggest issue is going to be if they get the composer wrong. So, and I don't mean the score for the series, which that is important for this series, but I mean the crazy guy. The insane what is his name? The insane composer. He made you listen to the waltz and hit all the.
Yeah, I do know who you're talking about.
Oh, Cohen.
There you go.
Cohen is like, because he wrote the crazy Cohen's masterpiece. No, it was like
No, I'm thinking of a different one.
That would start with an F, like maybe Francis Cohen or something like that.
Something like that, probably. I don't know why I thought Walter. That's an odd thing for me to hold on. I have to search up Walter Cohen now.
But yeah, I did learn.
Oh, that's why I thought about it. Walter Cohen was an author.
Oh, that's probably why you're thinking it then.
Yeah, he got a PhD at Berkeley.
Huh.
Yeah. Huh.
Sander. Okay, Sander Cohen.
If they
miscast or, screw up on Sander Cohen, I think that will ruin the entire series.
You think?
Yeah, that'll be the death knell, because he was probably the most special and incredibly crazy and fun part of the first game.
Huh.
So if they mess that up, I feel like it would be a domino effect, and I wouldn't trust them with the third one as far as I could throw them, especially with all the confusing time stuff going on with that one and the alternate realities and stuff.
Right.
And Elizabeth, I do not trust them. But I'm excited. I hope they nail it like they did The Witcher. And yeah, I would say that pretty much concludes the review portion of this.
Yeah.
We gave out some useful
did give
advice.
Our evidence of advice that is practiced this time. I usually try to put my advice into practice if it's applicable.
Yeah. And then the only thing we're missing is some philosophical know-how to get you through the next few days in between episodes until our next one.
I think I had something tabbed on my laptop, but I don't feel like getting it out.
Let's see. Off the top of my head,
what do you think?
I would say that I would recommend to everyone read any Stoic philosopher you can get your hands on right now, honestly, especially in these times. But I did get some advice recently, which was don't think about it, act on it. The 16th century English poet Robert Southwell stared at a picture each day, and each day he would look at a little totem and then read a little inscription. And he would do it daily, though, so it was to remind him of something. So basically, things like reminders that you could carry every single day, like memento mori, remember you will die. So everything you do should probably be less focused about what's going on in a particular moment and more about the big picture or the long game. You're not going to last forever, obviously. So
right.
Servicing the now is probably less important than getting your entire book finished. Finishing each chapter the right way and not taking each setback too hard, because nothing's permanent. Everything's in flux. So if you really sit around losing yourself because something went wrong,
right?
Seneca, his entire all of his worldly possessions fell into an ocean and sank, and he was unable to recover them ever. including all of his writings. So he could have gone and hanged himself, or he could have kept going and just tried to, just get new things, because things don't matter. So, I would just say grab any Stoic philosopher writing you can and just kind of start digging in, because it'll get you through a lot.
Oh yeah, very big volume of wise words there. Which, another note I actually wanted to talk about, I entirely forgot until just now.
What you got?
How do you feel about the PlayStation levels of subscription now? It's finally a thing.
I say it's really cool. It's good competition if they do it right, and I would say we can even make a whole separate YouTube video on it. Just once we get all the information and graphics, we should literally just post it there and cover everything and show everything to everyone, and show the differences as well between the Xbox One, the Game Pass, and does Steam have anything like that? Do PC gamers have anything? No, they just use Game Pass.
Something.
My bad. I forgot about that. They actually have access to Xbox Game Pass on PC, so that's crazy.
That is insane.
That's so many customers that PlayStation might be missing out on, as the PC people. But I think it's cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And I did want to note out to those of you out there who do play with PlayStations and whatnot, make sure you check out the Essentials, Extra, and Premium deals they have going on now.
Did you get one?
I did, actually. I myself upgraded up to PlayStation Extra, which it's not the premium, it's the middle service. I think it's 30 extra bucks a year. And what it does is I have a library essentially of PS4 and PS5 games that I have access to for free. So think PlayStation Now, but if you wanted to get your hands on those good old PS3 games and everything like that, you can. It's just you would have to go with the highest tier of subscription with this PlayStation Premium.
And get it digitally.
You would have to do it that way, but you could download it straight to your console and play it. All you have to do is get that subscription, and I did upgrade to the Extra with hopes to maybe score some gold from the past and have some more material to review for everybody.
That would be really cool. Get more PlayStation games in for folks.
And of course, to play the other Dark Souls games, because...
Oh yeah. It's a necessity.
It is a necessity.
Clearly. This is cool stuff. We're looking at it right now, the original Dark Souls remastered game. It's really
Souls.
Cool. Demon Souls.
And of course, my old habit of recreating my Dungeons and Dragons characters.
Oh, that's another thing. Dungeons and Dragons, I read an article, they're adding Elden Ring bosses to the game.
You know what you did? You just
article.
Sent me a link about that.
Oh, that sounds crazy.
Which that is insane. I cannot wait.
I would tell everyone again, thank you so much for all the new people who have joined. Thanks for the international, worldwide folks that are here.
It's awesome to have you.
Every single one of you is welcome. It's really cool to see all the different countries that are tuning in. And I would say, if you want to check out these movies, if they're available in your area, definitely go for it. Definitely try out the games we talked about, the Witcher series. It's also a Netflix series if you need a new show to watch and you didn't know about it. And just keep posted for the next interviews coming. Stay tuned for all the exciting things we got going on. We're going to start setting up a TikTok or whatever, doing some Discord,
we'll try to branch out.
Twitch or something, doing some live stream things, RPG games, video games, whatever we're doing at the time. We can even watch a movie live and laugh along with it.
Maybe. I've seen people get their accounts banned for watching movies.
But we would have to tell them what it is and then kind of avoid showing it in a way, but
but we can live stream gameplay.
Definitely,
most definitely. I'd be down for that, and I'm sure our audience, our lovely audience, would love to hear us play some painstaking, suffering games. I'll happily do a playthrough
or Gang Beasts.
That's a good time as well.
New game, so whenever Hogwarts Legacy comes out, whenever Gollum comes out, I'm gonna get that Gollum game, see if that's good.
Excited about
Gotham Knights, there's some good stuff coming out finally.
Absolutely.
It's gonna be a while.
We've got a lot of things in the works. so much more that we can, put out there for our faithful listeners. And thank you guys for sharing us around and maybe getting your friends into it and just hearing us out each week. It does mean a lot.
It does. It means the world to me, and thank you so much. And all the support gives us just the opportunity to even have these guests on. Also, that you guys are so interested in seeing and hearing from. So, the more you guys like it, give it a good rating on whichever service you're on. Which if you're on Spotify or Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts is one of our biggest ones. So, just give it a like, share it, talk about it on